Now, what I want to do, basically, there. What I want to be doing is, this is the EU Showmatch. I want to be going through the game from the casting perspective, because then I get to see more of the perspective from not only our team, but like I can give our insights from how you see everybody else kind of sees it, but also compared to what I was thinking, and then I can be showing it compared to the info that we had versus what we didn't have. I think it's kind of interesting. So the idea is kind of looking at it from the outside perspective. Think about this like an actual VOD review. I want to think about this like if you're in a competitive setting, like I've been coaching League of Legends professionally for like 4 years, but now I'm, you know, into Supervive. I imagine the best ways of VOD reviewing is, one, of course, looking at the POVs, like getting the individual perspective, the micros. But first I want to start off like the macros, you know, not the micros, but the macros more so for the teams in general and the holistic perspective that you would want to have. But again, this is also like early. People have a limited amount of time to be actually playing the game and practicing the game. So even the gameplay here, of course, might look completely different, and this might be noob shitter elo in like even a year. So, but it's always interesting to see the development and how things looked before and how we can each try to become better and better, kind of thing. Let's get full trial on this. Okay, so what I think is very interesting about the drop phase is always the like amount of, or like all the ways you can get. When you look at the map here, it feels very limited. Like, because of the circle you see around the drop ship, it feels like, okay, you can only land in this area. But it's not really like that. The first thing you can learn is that you can drop out of your pod early. So you don't need to, like, if you click here and land here, that doesn't mean you need to land there, but you can drop out earlier and fly somewhere else. That means if somebody wants to go for example, Kaiju here is like a vital point. You have legendary armors as a vital point. The stacks XP as a vital point. And then like blue armor. Those are like the major things in this game. So if you want to be going for the Kaiju, you can instantly get the underroute. I would say you can, for example, land on this spot here, and then you drop out of your pod as early as possible, and then you just fly down here, basically. You can just fly, and you have the distance to be able to glide all the way over to underroute and get to that point. So I think that's like a good thing to learn early, being able to know the distance of how far you can get. So the first thing we see is like, okay, where are people dropping? I'll see how long we get of this. I'll just go through it. Actually, one thing that I can instantly do actually is that we are blue team this game. So you see us as a blue team dropping on the left side. If you notice, the pink team also dropped here, but kind of late. And we know that. So in this perspective, what we know here is that pink is trying to get to us, but they're very late. So we can land without any problem, and we know exactly where they're going to be going. So if they want to land onto us, we can set up our CC onto them. What do end up happening is that they just drop out of the pod early because they realize, oh fuck, we're a bit late here. We cannot just land there, so we need to be able to like get away from it. But yeah. So you see two teams here, two teams on the other side here. This is the fourth team. I don't know who this is, but like, you have a camp here. It's an interesting drop spot because in this area, like, you have the most amount of creeps, I think, in vicinity, so you can get a good start kind of thing. But I don't see many people drop there in general. I think it's interesting. So you see a pink hair team, like, they instantly notice since we're first, they're just flying away. But what you also notice is that there were two teams bottom, so they don't really seem to realize what kind of position they put themselves into. So they needed to get away from us because we landed first, but now they're also running into another team which has already, like, potentially, I think, have been farming. So this is like awkward spot. We see like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams. So this is all 10 teams. The first thing you want to notice in this spot is where the general hot zone is, because you know that most teams are dropping in like this area as a whole. Of course, like you can of course fly further away, but because of this you should always notice how many teams are dropping where. So what I do as a drop leader, I'll be trying to look throughout the map in the whole early game to see where people are dropping, and I saw that most people dropped in this point. That means in general, if you want to be on the safest spot, the best place you can farm and the most open area is playing from this area into the top side, where you will only be contested by one team kind of thing. So this is to make sure that if you walk into the bottom side, you can potentially meet up with a lot of teams, which is really dangerous. Green team here is in like a very good position because they have all of this area to work on in the early game kind of thing. So they have potential, like a lot of resources. I think it was very smart of them to wait a lot, so they have a lot of room to play on in the early game. We'll see how this kind of pans out. There is Lemur's team. I think this is Lemur's team, if I remember correctly. I think this is Lemur's team. I don't remember all of the colors. I remember this is like Anion and Toomey. This should be Lemur, and then I'm not sure about the rest. We could go back. I don't remember like all of the teams, but we have it in the back. Where did Hot Biscuit drop? Good question. We can check that quick. Let's see. They are Orange team. So they died first, I thought. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they were the ones that said an interesting drop. They actually they ended up here in the middle. So this is, as I mentioned earlier, I think if you're dropping in any of these areas here, you're in a really dangerous spot, because like every team is here. You see, like pink dropped late, so we kind of have this area, and then up to this, purple has this area, and then green has this whole area, and then this is like the big hot zone where everything is dangerous in the early game. So playing towards the top side is going to be important. Or the other thing you can do is get the fuck out of this spot early and then play around from the downside here, basically. Like playing around here into circle, because we don't know where the circle is going to be yet, but I think that's like important. But yeah. So you see them here, Lemur squad here. Is this maybe Bomba squad? Actually, I forgot to watch it, but yeah, I think Bomba squad is up here. Yeah, so as I mentioned, like the really bad drop on the left side, people are already dying there, which is like really dangerous. Yeah, because now see, this is like, yeah, Venomous and Pass. These guys will rank on, but you see, like, it is very dangerous to be able to walk around in this area, because almost every team dropped around in the bottom left corner. Well, we forced one time down south, because they didn't want to fight us. Yeah, team, you mean, team, yeah, because we forced pink, because pink dropped at us, but they dropped late, and that means they had to walk into the hot zone. They either had to fight us, but then being at a disadvantage because we could set up on them, but they chose to just go into all of the other teams. So now you see, like Celeste here, I don't, who's this actually, Celeste, who, Dunmer, I guess, that's Dunmer, I think, play with them. But yeah, they're like playing on the bottom side, just trying to get resources in the early game. But yeah, it's very important to get level 4 early. So what all the teams are trying to get now is just get level 4 and then start looking for powers and potential armor in the start to be able to set themselves in a good spot. Here we see red team, and like I think a decent position, because they are at least, like if you have the map, red team, if this is like the map, and everybody landed up here, they landed on the bottom side. So they're not forced in the middle of everyone, as like 3-4 other teams were, but they can play from the bot side into people. They could be crushed by the zone, depending on where it's going to be moving, but they're, like, I think they're in a fine position. Oh yeah, here actually, we see the good timing. Yeah, because you can see they do have pink behind them, but they're kind of playing from the bottom side of the map. I'm kind of surprised that actually nobody went for the Kaiju Vault, because I think like it's very good powers you can get early. I would expect somebody to move here, but yeah, we see fighting here, and then, as I say, green team having a lot of area to be able to move on in this spot. So right here, what I think is very important is that put yourself in the zone from where you can play inwards towards others and not in the middle. So like anything that is I think Kobayashi, Sight, 38, Iron Acres, Heart, like kind of Wraith Throne, Magbone. Like, I think this is like the dangerous zone to be in the next couple of minutes, because when the next circle arrives, everybody's gonna start moving in from all these areas, depending on where exactly the zone is gonna be. So this is like where you put yourself early game. But yeah, let's keep on watching. Yeah, what is worth noticing here is that we are gonna be meeting up with purple here, where we got kind of surprised because we suddenly noticed when we meet them that they're level 5. And we didn't think, like, we didn't hear much of fighting in the early game, and it's hard to actually get, like, kills early. But what they have done is that they have bought XP books, because in Kobayashi you can buy experience books to be able to get level 5. So we see them, like, having level 5s here. We were looking for the pick, but notice, okay, we didn't get the pick, they're level 5, we should be playing safe. Like, taking a fight 4v4 against 2 members with ults is just a disadvantage spot. We do have legendary armor, maybe we can fight it, but it's like, it's risky. But we can always play with picks because we have set up with Eluna, catch with KP, and etc. So we kind of go by. What happens, which is unlucky, is that I tried to jump on the boat. I didn't realize I had the hook shot on me, and then I hit the side of the boat, and I get pulled back. So they, with the momentum, drag me back, like kind of further back, which puts me in a bad position. So they managed to chunk me a little bit, getting me like half the down, and they were already at disadvantage. Now we need to try to restabilize and keep on looking from behind. They do have decent ways of looking in, trying to get some like punches in, but then also, as you saw there, they hit the EMP grenade, which destroys my armor. So I'm like in a terrible spot here, like on the edge of the EMP grenade. Really fucked me over there. Maybe if I don't get hit by the EMP grenade, then it's like more doable of a fight. We're back to being more healthy, but the armor advantage has slivered, and then we get like kind of punished from behind. We're just trying to get on the same spot. So here we get a really good burst. Like, Anion is down to 1 HP. The call here was like, somebody's like, Isib is calling, can we look on the bonfire? I feel like I don't remember if I said like we go back or yes we can look. But the problem in this moment, like, Chip is trying to build up heat, so he's building up heat on the mob, and then we're looking to get it from this side, but Isib jumps in like way too far, so we have no way of covering the distance. Like, I'm kind of looking with him, I'm like around here, but Eldo Chip is down here, so like we are way too spread out here, and since we have no follow-up, I think like when we're looking, calling for looking, that means we need to be able to play from this area. But the problem is that we're on lower ground, so we put ourselves in a disadvantage trying to look from the lower area. And they've healed up like fairly quickly. So, oh, sorry, there. So that means we're gonna be losing Easy Bear, trying to restabilize. It is like risky trying to get up. Like, they need to respect a little bit. Teldo does like a good job of trying to stop them, but I think we should like get out earlier. Me also, I'm trying to stop them, but you know, I-frames on Jewel can't really be doing anything there, and then we end up losing a lot of members. Wasn't it called to back off? I think so. But yeah, we're trying to like restabilize, and this is like a very lucky moment for us. Like, we lose all members basically, and it's just Chip left. They could, like, if purple team wants to, they could look to just group onto the Brawl here and potentially like one-shot him. It's hard because Brawl is full HP and like has armor, but he doesn't have too much mana. But like, I really understand why they don't go for it, but like, we could potentially get wiped here if they play it clean on us. How long is Myth ult CD? I have no idea. She used it at the start when they pushed us into snow area, and then she just used it again. Well, I imagine like most ults are around like 30 to 40 seconds cooldown, so it's like decently okay. But yeah, so what is really bad for us now? Let me see the map. Yeah, we saw the map here. So what happens now is that we got pushed down into the middle of the zone, which why I said was bad. Like, this is the dangerous zone, because everybody's gonna want to be able to push down into this. As I mentioned earlier, I thought it was weird nobody went for the Kaiju, but yeah, we see Lemur team actually going for the Kaiju item, which I think is a very good idea. Now we see whatever this team is, I don't remember, pushing in from the right side, and then you see like all of these teams are then going to start afterwards to push into the middle of the circle, where we are now kind of middle. His Hot Biscuit still alive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 9. 10. No, that's all teams. All teams are still alive. 10 teams. So yeah, I didn't see those on the edge. But yeah, this is like all teams trying to put in. So my idea in this moment is that we need to restabilize. What we know from the early game is that the info we have is that most people dropped in this area here, and we know one team dropped in this area, which means that from the one team being here, this is relatively or like potentially safe. There's always a chance for people to move up onto this side, but it's the safest in general depending on where people start to land. So this is why I want to be pushing towards that area. The other thing that I noticed is that this is like one safe area, but another thing is we still have this area. So it is very unlikely to push into industries because the next zone is going to be somewhere here in the middle, which makes this one safe zone and this one safe zone. But we already have a bonfire. So what I call is for us to recall, because we instantly get back into a safe position and we don't have to risk moving through potential teams up here. So we get back and then we just try to farm up again to be able to pull ourselves in this position. Now we're just going to need to wait for the next day, because when night comes, there's just going to be certain areas where the ghosts spawn to be able to get level 5. And those areas are going to be highly contested. So trying to move for ghost in our position is really bad. So it's better for us to just go back to safe side and then try to farm up again. Seems like people never think to enter hot zone this late anymore either. So we get free farm. Exactly. So people like could have tested to see if there's been a fight up there, but I guess also people noticed that only 2 teams dropped and the pink team kind of left early. But yeah, now we see like, since as I mentioned, like we are now in the hot zone, like or like not the hot zone, but like we're in ground zero, I would call this, because everything that is in the middle of the map is crazy zone where people are potentially fighting, because everybody will naturally go towards the middle of the zone in some capacity. So as we see here, we're like gravitating towards the middle, and the next zone is going to be very like interesting to see how people move into the new zone, because everything is going to be shrinking, of course. But yeah, we see lime green recall. Yeah, this is interesting. So the ghost spawns that are available for people are Underroot. Here there's a ghost. Vein Grow, there are 4 ghosts. We have Shards of Fate, we have ghosts here. And then Hallows, we have ghosts here. This is like the ghost spots that are available at the moment. There is also like down here, but like people won't be able to get to that. So what we could as a team, we could have gone to Shards of Fate for Ghost, but the problem is there is purple team that we just lost to, so we know that they are stronger than us. So the safest thing for us is to just retake the farm, which is going to be spawning here, and then playing into the zone from there. But yeah, it's very risky from like lime green team to go for the spot here, because every team is around them. But you know, I respect the balls. I do respect the balls. But now pink team is in a good position, you know, they got one team out and they have kind of like an end zone. So what is optimal here is that they want to be holding this position until the next circle, and then wait, because like now potentially teams are going to be coming in from all these sides. You should always respect somebody being here, because the green team started in the stacks. We see they have moved up to the top side, which I think is smart. As I mentioned earlier, we saw that nobody dropped up here, so they have moved the safer side up to the left area to be able to be in a less contested area. And then you see this team is going to have to push in. So you see, as I mentioned, this is the hot zone of where it's going to be dangerous, ground zero. I don't know if there is a name for it, but like at the moment, like the most dangerous spots in the zone, I kind of just call ground zero. I feel like it's just a good example of what is a very dangerous area like on the map. Because like I don't play much other BRs. I have experience from Fortnite, but I don't know if Apex or Fortnite or other battle royales already have like names for that to be able to explain those kind of scenarios, but yeah. Yeah, we're fighting as what I call like ground zero or ground zero early. Like, this is the dangerous spot to be. Like, if you want to be fighting, because if you do like getting into the danger zone, then you're in the perfect place, because everybody's gonna be moving into this side of the circle. Now we see the next circle. So as I mentioned, like, you see where it goes, and now it's all about, okay, the positions of the team. We have like here, 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 one here, one sadly pink. So this again. This is where ground zero. So the new ground zero now involves Kobayashi, where this is where the dangerous area is gonna be. Like, if you play on the outer side, the reason why I include the bottom areas here is because this is like the bottom half of where people dropped. So the safest areas is always being on the top side here, trying to hold this alone, because people have like their own sections up here. But it's like kind of the area where you want to be. You can already see on the right side here, you have one area which is kind of safe where you could be farming at. But yeah, we have one pink member left here, trying the best he can to just survive, but he's basically in the most dangerous place on the map. Or like, the most dangerous is always bottom left here, like second most is bottom right. But yeah, everybody's moving from that bot side upwards kind of thing. But yeah, soul spawn at this stage, so now everything is going to be contested via where the soul buffs are. You always want to try to contest them if you are in the vicinity. You do not want to just give a soul away for free. But here's the red team, like, with an insane engage, instantly blows up Dunmer, I think it is, and then trying to get him back up. They do play decently. They try to like chunk it down. Line Pro is going to be in like a very dangerous position to try to stop it, but a really good tornado back makes it so they actually get him back up again. That should probably be in a finish, but really well played by Lime Green. A respectable blast from Harry Hook trying to knock them back in, but they get the position. They're like in a favorable way to be able to play for the XP Soul. The other one is Gliding Soul. I don't remember where that was, but they do manage to take it. I don't think like Lime Green actually gets in there. Like, they want to try to contest, but no, it's hard. So this is where like the super interesting part starts, because when the souls are taken, we get 2 more zones to be able to play around. This is where like the second part comes, because we see the zone here is going to be growing to like approximately like this size. This is going to be a dangerous zone, and this one is going to be like here. So this puts on 2 more zones. So the Mage Bog one is not as dangerous, but this creates like harder movements to walk in. What is important about this circle, I'll like talk about what I'm thinking here, is that Kobayashi doesn't really give anything for us here. Like, there's nothing you can farm here. So this is like just a dead zone where nothing happens, because you don't want to really be here, and you don't gain anything from being there. So this is now like with the split of this is now the most dangerous area, because as mentioned earlier, everybody dropped on this zone. So what I want to be doing is moving into the safer side where there's less teams, which is through the top side, and trying to get onto this area where of course there will be somebody. We know people moved on that area and people will be moving towards, but it's less likely to meet people on the top side here than the bottom side kind of thing. But yeah, this creates, with the 2 new zones, more movements to roam from. So like, as you see, we're going to be moving on the top side here, because we know less people are on the top side rather than on the bottom side. As we can see, like on the dead zone here, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4 teams, and then 5, 6 kind of on the edge here, and then only 2 teams on the top side. So this is like the upper side where you want to be moving on. This is the reason why I'm calling to the top side, is just because the amount of possible teams you can meet, because we don't have perfect information of where everybody will be, because you can move around as much as possible, as much as you like, but depending on where people dropped and where you would want to move and how dangerous it is to move on the map, that is why we chose the top side basically. So since we're kind of on the back foot, we're just basically picking up the stuff on the top side, picking up some farm, picking up some items, trying to stay as safe as possible on the top side, and then getting into the circle to see what is the next position we're going to move in. Because of our position, there was no way for us to contest the souls. Like, the 2 souls are like impossible for us to play for, so now it's all about position and try to leverage the things that we have. We lost 3 legendary armors, which is now on purple team. They have moved into the danger zone, which I think is like respectable, they teleport or recall back to the left side, which puts them in an advantage position. So it's easier to play from the outer rings inwards rather than opposite, of course. And you see they like instantly blow up target there, really good. Like, it's really hard to fight them. Ooh, the grappling hook actually hits, but it doesn't go in. That was interesting. But yeah, Toomey with the chase, they get 2. And now the top left becomes more of a dangerous area. So the information we gain as a team, like being blue team in this situation, is that we can hear people starting the rest. We could hear red team hitting this. That means like something happened on like this area. Like around here something happened because people are hitting this rest. So that means we want to be pushing over to this side, because either people are going to come from this area, being like the most vulnerable here, and this is also the area in which least people have been looking at, putting us in like the safest position possible. But yeah, you can see on the map it's very straightforward where people end up depending on where they also drop on the map. I do believe, like, when people think more about the macro aspect, I think people will think more about the ground zero aspect on where you move on the map, and then people will be more spread. Because I don't think a lot of people think about where they drop on the map compared to the other teams in the game, which ends up just making this whole section a ground zero. Like, look at this. This is basically 80% of the teams left is in ground zero. They made their own ground zero in this whole area here. So that's why I'm always calling to play from the top side, because it's the least likelihood of people being in this area. So it's always like trying to play inwards. Like if you play from the outside, there is always a risk of being held outside from a team trying to hold an edge. Like if they get a lucky next zone trying to hold an edge from another team. But like, you don't want to hold an edge forever, because you always want to be holding the best possible position for the next zone again, and the next zone, and the next zone, because like movement on the map is really important. What the next thing, oh, a little bit back. The next thing that happens on the map after the souls is the drops. So you see blue armor has dropped, green armor has dropped, and then I think like the powers are... Oh no, the actually powers already dropped here. Yeah. So we were really lucky here. Like the drops from the ship here is of course random. And since we played up in like the safest position, we managed to get powers here. We managed to grab blue armor, and then we can play from this area with more resources. So this is kind of like a lucky thing, you know? People might want to be contesting this, but we see purple team, they already have legendary armor and good stuff. They will never want to be doing it, but there is always a risk of people from this area wanting to move in. But then we at least have an edge to play from, and then people, if they want to move in from ground zero, then this is going to be a dangerous spot, because they're going to put themselves in the middle. So this is kind of lucky. So for now, you see the poor red guy on the top side, they're going to be like just trying to survive. Purple team know they're somewhat close by. You see setting up some vision here and there, trying to just scout out where the potential last member can be, because they know it's like somewhere in the top left. And then red 3 being smart, holding this area, makes it so they can finish up the team that finishes in 9th. RIP. So now you see like soon the zone is going to be moving in again, and we're like playing from the somewhat safest possible place. But yeah, what we're going to start seeing now, as like the next zone is moving in, things are going to start getting really clustered. So we are going to be fighting against purple team here. I don't remember exactly how it goes. You know, you can watch my POV on YouTube. I just posted our POV on YouTube today. But you can be looking at, okay, we actually got a knock. I think we got a knock there. But yeah, we're playing against purple team. I don't remember exactly how that went, but like it is a one-on-one fight. But as I said, this is an example of dead zone, or like ground zero. This is ground zero happening because everybody is localized on the bottom side, and chaos is gonna pursue. This is the problem with lime green. They've put themselves in this position like the whole game long. So if they don't want to fight there, like it looks like they don't want to fight there, but they put themselves in a position where they have to fight because they're in the middle of the zone. So this shows just like kind of an optimal macro movement around the map depending on where people are. So they're not really thinking about the consequences of where on the map they're moving around. So now we see like everybody just trying to look for certain picks on the side there. This was interesting. Like the Void ult gets cancelled because of Myth RMB. I didn't notice this the first time I watched through, but Myth RMB is the thing that cancels out Void R there and saves the team. So Lemur team here like get us away purely by Myth RMB right there. I think they're like dead to their rights if that Void ult hits. So they managed to get back, play from range. They have a good like poke comp. Like they have 4 characters, hunters that can easily play on range, and then slowly playing on the damage getting taken down, and then looking for a one shot on a target that is low. But yeah, as you see, this is basically the example of being in ground zero, where everything is going to be happening in the middle of the area. You can always expect fighting here in ground zero. And if you want to be fighting, you know exactly where it's going to be happening. There, we see next zone. So what is going to happen now is that, as I said, this was the safest area. We managed to we survived. I have no idea how purple team ended up down here. Like, holy shit, they must have moved super quickly through this area and then ending up on the downside. This is insane. That is like, they have been moving quickly as fuck. But what happens here is that with the new zone, since this was the safest zone and this was ground zero, that means that ground zero, as you see based on the circle here, is gonna be this area. This is the most dangerous area. So what I am thinking of then is that since ground zero moves into this area, we also see bubble spraying. This is the thing that spawns on this day. This is like the next zone boss. That means that I want to call us to play around this area, because this is high ground. We can play on this high ground, but also we have the safety nest of skirmishes if we want to be playing around the day. So this is me thinking safe area into the next safe area being this top side of the map. This is the new safe area, because this again is a dead zone where not much will happen because you can't do anything around skirmishes at daytime. So this is like how I'm thinking around moving around the map. So here everybody's gonna be fighting. You see purple team in a very dangerous position. Like, I would never want to put myself in purple's position, even though it's Bubba's brain. If I'm ever to play from if I'm ever to play for Bubba's brain, I want to be coming from this side already. Like, if I'm anywhere on this side of the map, like anywhere on this side of the map, I would never want to be playing from this because of where people are on the map. So this is like, I respect them for going for it. I don't remember what happens here though, but they're like, they're putting themselves in ground zero, being very dangerous. So now, of course, a lot of fighting is going to happen because all of the teams are now slowly getting pushed into each other, into, you know, the air, which I thought was going to be most dangerous. You see, as you see, like, it's daytime, so people can't really be doing anything. People are going to be here, but this is a safe zone because it's daytime. So this is a place where you just always want to be looking to get people back up again. Casters are missing the exciting fight. Yeah, I noticed that they did miss a lot of like exciting things this game. But it's not the casters' fault. They have like an observer. I don't know who the observer is, but like they have 2 casters and 1 observer. So, but yeah, this is madness. Like, going for kills in skirmishes, respectable. So what happens here is that you're gonna see us, like, we're gonna of course start off meeting with people, because like you want to always be playing from the edge in, being able to play on the safer side. We do get 1 catch here, and this is like the high ground I talked about. Like, we're inside the circle and we have high ground and we're playing on, okay, this is like a decent place to play for. Now, while we were fighting, I could hear that a lot of shit was going on the left side, and I noticed that there is a most wanted on the left side. That means that people have been fighting in here, which means like somebody might be weak, maybe not everybody's gonna be surviving, but like, since you know there's fighting here, that means people are gonna be weak here. We see the most wanted, which means this is a weak squad, and that makes this makes the new safe zone. So what I am calling for here, like I'm talking already with this, like, and you can listen on it on the POV, is that I call here that we're gonna be rotating over to the left side, because as I mentioned earlier, this was ground zero for the last circle, and everybody's gonna be moving on here into this area, which means that the next safe zone for us is gonna be moving over the whole map onto this side. So I think you're going to be seeing it on the stream here, that we hard rotate over to the left side, which will be the next safe zone. But yeah, here you see we're doing the hard rotation over here because we know of the weakness here, we know of the weakness on the left side, and put ourselves in the safest place possible. We notice this poor little guy alone here, and I just go on all angles to one-shot him. So I think like if light green team is like, if they notice what is happening on the top side, they would also be moving to the left side even quicker. So now we're just playing from the safest side possible on the left side, which will have the least contention. Or of course there's going to be a team there, but since we know about the fighting and the most wanted, we know there's going to be most weakness on this left side. So as you can see, this has now become the new ground zero. So since we were smart, we moved over to the left side. People like, there's one team holding the island, it's hard to push away from this island, and because of the early weakness, there's like one weak team here. So we again managed to get over to the best side of the map here to be able to hold a safer side and play it from this inner side. I respect, like, purple is still alive. Like purple, they put themselves in such a dangerous position with the Bubba's Brain boss that spawned. I respect their balls. I do respect their balls. I would never want to do that. But what has happened now is that you see they've put themselves in the middle. They're in the middle of red team, dark red being here, and then also green team on the right side. So now they're in a sandwich. You see the next zone. We'll look at it more so when the map opens again. But yeah, we gain more information. Now we see the bonfire on the bottom left, so we know there's going to be a team here. Yeah, here it is. So now we learn the new info. They put themselves in the middle. So since I said like this was the last ground zero, which means that this new circle is basically in the middle of ground zero. Now you want to be able to somewhat push in from this side. So what you're going to see us be doing, like, what is now the safest side? We have the information that there is a team here because of the bonfire, so we learned there's something here. We learned something here and here. This is like 100%. We know there's 3 teams around these areas, which means that because of the weakness that we learned earlier, we know about the team here because I'm looking at them. We ran past one team which was here, so we know they're like somewhere in this area, which makes this, of course, like the safest area to be on. So then you'll see the rotations that I'm going to be calling from, like, around that area. But yeah, we can see them being weak here, no armor. They have no idea we're coming from behind. And then boomba, we get another kill pick. So now Porsche, you know, in the dangerous area. Circle is starting to move in. And as you see, my rotation's moving into what is the least likely danger zone of the map. We don't see that spike there, you know, shit happens, but we get into the area. Now, of course, we're not inside the circle yet, so we need to play from this position. But we're at least not in ground zero yet. So now we need to slowly push in, see where other people move compared to us. We notice lime green on the right side, which means we get more information. We push in from this side because we knew that lime green was the team that was fighting earlier in the town. It doesn't say for much, but we know they have been in a fight, which makes it possible to be able to, like, use or lost resources earlier on. Yeah, we see a purple team like in the middle in a dangerous position. Now we see also blue team here. I don't know what happened with dark red. I didn't see where they moved. But yeah, we know there's 2 teams here. Green team moves into the bottom left. Yeah, also, like, I don't remember who, I think it's maybe Triple, but had a really good death grenade to push them away from the zone that we want to be controlling. And then, like, exactly, like, again, we're in ground zero, as I mentioned, like, fights are going to be happening in this area. So we're carefully moving outside of ground zero at all times. And bloodiness occurs. Purple team smurfing it, getting more kills, getting more stuff. Lime green got pushed in here by us because of the death zone, and now they put themselves in a dangerous position. Now the last pink member does get spotted out. Circle's gonna get them back, and also with the most wanted, they get one of the lime green members back. So yeah, as you see here, now we got a spot here on the right side, so we got an whole island for ourselves. We do not have, this is, people are gonna be, wait, do you have like the fortress wall? No, we just have a lot of walls. Like, it's good to have walls to be able to make yourself a good position to play from. And we see the next circle as well. We had Oracle, we bought Oracle super early, which makes it possible for us to see the next zone, which makes it easier to play from it. Now see green team putting themselves in a little corner. We have walls, which means that we can like hold this area. Now somebody's gonna think like, if we did not have the walls here, this is a dangerous position because we're in the middle of the circle. We see lime green. Oh, for like a small second there, I'm gonna pause on it. Hold on. But yeah, we're getting pushed by on both sides, but because of the walls, that means we're kinda only in the danger zone of one team. So what happens here in this new circle? Since the last dead zone were like on this area here. This is where the ground zero kind of thing. Ground zero, I mean, not dead zone, ground zero. That means that the next ground zero is gonna be moving into this bottom half of the map. Like you see the areas, now it's gonna be more specific. The areas here, from here, is gonna be the next ground zero. This is like kind of the safest zone to be. Like, this is a good position for lime green to be in, but the problem is that this is not a good because we have control. Because of the walls we have here, this means that we are on an even footing on them. If we did not have the walls around here, we would be in a really fucked position. But because of the walls, we make ourselves in an even position where we can fight for our ground, basically. So we get hook here onto green team. They get a good hook back to save the teammate. Now we need to like pushing ourselves on the edge here. We have the safety of the walls. They have a good nuke to push us onto the corner. But you see, they don't want to fight onto this. They're trying to hold the backside. They're trying to get a new zone for themselves. Which means that since we know they're moving onto the right side, it brings more contention there. And we notice then an open side on the left. Like, it's kind of the green zone, but since we see purple team fighting, we take the moment. Since we're stronger, we hadn't been in any fight. We were just holding this area, which means that we didn't use much of our resources. But since we see contention happening on the left side, we use our opportunity to third party them, finishing up like 2 or 3 people, and then holding a new side. So now the walls are getting destroyed, and the new ground zero is then basically everything around in the middle here. Like, this is just danger zone. You always want to be on the last side. So this is the everybody being on these sides is in a decent position. But the problem is that we saw the next circle. So since we saw this being an open spot, third party in purple team, and we can see this zone, we already knew that this was going to be happening beforehand. Since we have Oracle, we hold this side, which means that we get free access. We get free access down to this slot behind the wall. I think Isib was the one to call for it. We get free access to this down slot, which means that all of these teams are the ones who are in on a timer. These are in the danger zone. So Lemur team here and our team here is in the best position possible because we have the first access to the new circle, basically. So now I see like people are going to start setting a group TPs. Now it's all about, okay, where can we get into the next zone, try to get members, try to get some picks, like how can we poke people down and hold the next one. We see they stealing away a bonfire to be able to get a bonfire to sustain up, get health and fix armor. But you see, like, the circle is going to soon start moving in, and people are going to be pushed in. And this is where we have a good position. Like, we still have more walls holding this angle. You see also Lemur's team in a dangerous position because they do get pushed from the right side. But you see the chunker setup. They have a really, really good setup with their chunkers. So that means it's hard to get contested. Now, green team, they need to do something. Green team needs to force in. So this is like the only thing they need to do. But what they do smart is they jump over. But now they put themselves in the middle of 2 teams. Like, the smart thing is, of course, not to fight. But it is a little bit early, but they kind of have to do it. Like, it's the best of a bad position. So they force themselves here. They put a nuke to force us back, so we need to go here. But they are on a small island, which makes it easy for this team to hit onto them from the right side. So it's a dangerous position, but it's kind of what they need to do. So now we know lime green from the other side, they're going to start pushing in also from behind. But this is the strength of Lemur team's comp right here. They have 4 hunters with really good poke. But then on the other side, I have a hook character, so I can safely from this wall just hook the people from the side there. So they're getting poked from one side and then getting hooked from the left side, which makes it really hard for them to play here.
You can see that top right there. I'm really worried for Bomber Squad. They might have the tactical nuke, but that's a long...
Yeah, and then like one hook comes through because like at some point you're just gonna be hitting a hook. And then it's a hard position. Like, we have the safety of the walls, so it's easy for us to get catches. Now, because this is happening, the good thing for light green, like, these guys are safe, and the reason why they're safe is because both this team and our team, we see the opportunity to absolutely fuck over this team, because they're in a bad position. So that means the light green gets like kind of a safety, because they're not in a good position, but they're in the not the worst position over the others. Yo, Sunset, thank you for the follow, and welcome, man. Welcome. So now again, get a hold of the hook, and then they just slowly and surely get pinched down. Now, lime green, they're going to be starting to move in because they need to get into the next circle. You can see again, of course, we know the next zone because of Oracle. So since we have Oracle, we know it's going to be pushing down this angle, which means we again hold this area for a good position. And we know this team needs to either want to push into us, which is really bad because we have chonkers here and walls to play around. So it's very unlikely for them to push into us. Another thing, they need to push into this area or this area, so it makes us the least likely team to be engaged on. And then green team goes out because like they were in the middle and they're gonna fuck. You see lime green, they try to push into us, but as you can see, they can't really. We have the wall, we get the hook, we have the setup, so it's really hard for them to push in. They do try and they need to do something, but because of our position, it's hard for them to take the fight here. We do not want to hard commit. Like you see, we look for punches, we look for some catches, but we don't need to all in them. At some point, we see them chunk down. I'm going to be jumping around here because I see that they have no space to play on. So I go in. I'm very tanky. I just ult in to be able to put anti-heal and force them away. I don't need the kills. I just want to force them away from us, which puts them in the middle of everybody and makes it really hard. So now it's basically Venom lost against two other teams. So what is going to happen here is, again, we see the zone. The good thing, or like there's one good thing, a bad thing. The good thing for us is that, again, we have the walls to play on. We have the safety of the wall to play over and have a hooker. The other problem is that the area this team has to play on, like they have a lot of space to move on, which makes it unrealistic for us to actually hit hooks, or like for me to hit hooks. Like I can always hook over here, but as you see, the range only goes this far. The circle is going to stop on this point, so makes it unrealistic for us to hit hooks. Hooks are always good because of multiple teams being in angle, but when it's a 1v1, it is really unrealistic to get hit by hook. So we see, we're lucky on one thing. We do get the zone. We see the zone here. They're going to have to move into us, but we have less space, so it's really easy for them to poke us. What we need to do better in this position is set up stuff to fuck over them, because we know they have a Celeste. They're going to be able to play with space. So the good thing we have the zone, and we can set up things. The bad thing is that we're not really setting it up correctly. We're not using our space. Like, I'm sitting on the nuke here. I think I used it earlier. So I don't have the nuke here. I should be holding my nuke. I used it earlier, which is a bad thing for me. We're trying to set up chonkers here to make space, but because they have so much to play on, and they have the chonkers, like my hook even goes through the chonker, or like on the chonker, so it gets stopped, so it's hard for me to actually get picks. But yeah, we play on this area, we get chunked out. I've lost all my armor. I should probably pick up this armor. I didn't think about this in the moment, but the best shot is I should be picking up this armor to play better on that. Now you see, they're going to be playing on with space. Celeste takes the whole area here. I get pushed down into the corner, gets blown up by the jewel, and they just get a really good engage. We definitely could have played better on the area, but you know, Lemur team, they played really, really well on their abilities. They hold the area, blow one shot the people caught off, like we were split 2 and 2, and then they get the win.
Can they find a revive? The answer is no! The last dance win the June-July EU Showmatch.
GG's. So I would say, like, credit where like Lemur squad, they played it well. I'm really happy about the game. When you think about the position we were in early, we got fucked like super early in the game. Like, it was really, really rough. We got fucked over early and lost members. Like, we had one member left and we actually get back up. So getting second place from the position that we started in is really good. But the idea of this is to showcase my thought process since I'm IGLing on the team. Like, how do I think about the zones where people are moving, dropping, like what I call ground zero. I'm not sure if that's really the correct word, but it made sense in the area of like what is happening. But of course, like, there's a lot we as a team can learn on the last circle here in form of what resources do we have available, how can we play with our hunters, our positioning when they're going to be eventually jumping over, because we have the zones, so they need to jump onto us. So there's a lot of things we can improve on the last circle there. But I'm really happy over like our movement, our macro around the map, and how we're playing on the rotations, which was a lot of fun. Okay, what about eSib doing the teleport strat there? Yeah, like, that's another thing. We could have maybe, you know, went into the teleport and gone behind them, tried to get it engaged. There's a lot of possibilities of what we could have done, but I think like it's valuable for us to look into that. We talked a little bit at it as a team to see what can we actually do better in that area and improve for that for next time. But I hope you guys like enjoyed this kind of content. I really like talking about this game and trying to give perspective on the competitive side, since I think it's very interesting, and I hope it develops into a healthy esports scene in someday when the game fully releases. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the insights into my brain, how I think about the game, and that you learned something from it.